Mortality rates might have improved significantly in recent years, but for a while, it felt like a month wouldn't go by without news of a wrestler passing away far too soon. Many of these tragedies involved performers from the 80s and 90s. While the more notable WCW stars who died in their 20s and 30s are well remembered, there are others, perhaps more obscure or forgotten, who met the same unfortunate fate. Joey Maggs was a wrestler who at the time was seen as being too big to be an effective cruiserweight, but too small to be an effective heavyweight. As a result, Maggs, despite being a decent worker, became primarily an enhancement talent. He wrestled for WCW from 1991 to 1998. Described as someone who truly loved professional wrestling and was just happy to be part of the business, Joey was close with individuals like Arn Anderson and Terry Taylor. He idolized Brian Pillman. Maggs also worked enhancement matches for WWE during this era, taking great pride in making his opponents look good. He got the opportunity to work with some big-time stars, including Paul Orndorff, Lex Luger, Sid Vicious, Ric Flair, Steve Austin, and more. In his final match, he became another victim of Goldberg's winning streak. Following this, he retired due to a shoulder injury. Out of the business for 8 years, Maggs tragically passed away from cardiac arrest in his hometown of Baltimore, Maryland, on October 15, 2006. He was just 39 years old. Standing over 6'6" and weighing more than 300 pounds of pure muscle, Emery Hale's sheer size guaranteed him opportunities in pro wrestling. Despite his inexperience, his impressive physique caught Jimmy Hart's attention, and he was brought to WCW as a potential opponent for none other than Hulk Hogan. Unfortunately, Hale's initial televised matches often saw him losing to established stars. Though Hart and Hogan had plans to utilize him in the newly launched XWF, after WCW's closure, the promotion folded shortly after its inception. Hale returned to work in Puerto Rico, but kidney issues in 2003 required a transplant, putting an end to his in-ring career. While working out on January 26, 2006, Hale vomited blood and was admitted to the hospital, where he was diagnosed with walking pneumonia. Tragically, his condition worsened, leading to kidney failure. His mother made the heartbreaking decision to take him off life support. Hale passed away the following day at 36 years old. At just 17 years old, Lou Spicoli had his first ever match on WWE television, working as a jobber to Cowboy Ron Bass on an episode of Superstars. A lifelong wrestling fan, this was a dream come true for Spicoli, who continued working enhancement matches for WWE before venturing out for more experience. After stints in Herb Abrams' UWF and Japan's FMW, Spicoli found work in Mexico's AAA promotion under the persona of Madonna's boyfriend. He later returned to WWE as Rad Radford, but his struggles with substance abuse caught up with him. After publicly overdosing on somas and being hospitalized, he was released by the company. The ECW environment did little to curb Spicoli's issues, and Paul Heyman eventually let him go out of concern for his well-being. Despite a fresh start in WCW, Spicoli's demons persisted. Less than a week after his 27th birthday, he tragically overdosed on somas and wine, choking on his own vomit. He passed away far too young. Chase Tatum was working as a personal trainer when a WCW roster member noticed his bodybuilder physique and suggested he try pro wrestling. After training at WCW's power plant, Tatum made his in-ring debut against Goldberg. Unsurprisingly, Goldberg emerged victorious. Tatum would go on to wrestle and lose to stars like Scott Steiner, Scott Norton, and Van Hammer before being added to the No Limit Soldiers group. His WCW tenure ended in the summer of 1999. After leaving wrestling, he worked as a road manager and personal assistant for the rap group Outkast and appeared in the film Who's Your Caddy? Unfortunately, Tatum struggled with substance abuse, reportedly battling a severe pill addiction for years. 10 days after undergoing back surgery, he accidentally overdosed on March 23, 2008. He was just 34 years old. The 34-year-old had been openly discussing seeking help for his addiction shortly before his untimely demise. Richard Wilson, a Georgia native, trained in the New England area while working as an exotic dancer. Although limited in wrestling skill, his striking appearance earned him opportunities on the independent circuit and with Japan's War promotion, where he performed as Ryo, Lord of the Jungle, due to his resemblance to Jim Hellwig. Hulk Hogan brought Wilson to WCW in 1995, presenting him as the ultimate surprise after WCW declined Hellwig's monetary demands. Essentially an Ultimate Warrior knockoff, Wilson adopted the wild hair, tassels, and mannerisms but lacked the charisma of the original. Despite winning the WCW television title early on, the gimmick flopped. After losing the title, Wilson became a jobber. Though he attended classes at the WCW power plant, he showed little improvement. Released in early 1999 after failing a steroid test, Wilson found himself in financial and emotional turmoil. In a heated argument with his girlfriend at their home, he tragically turned a gun on himself, ending his life at the age of 33. Bobby Dunham Jr., after persistent injuries derailed a promising football career, followed in his father's footsteps into professional wrestling. Beginning in Texas, he soon joined All Japan Pro Wrestling in the mid-90s, where he teamed with Stan Hansen and befriended Rob Van Dam. In 1997, Dunham Jr. joined RVD in ECW, but left both All Japan and ECW when WCW offered a lucrative 3-year deal. As part of the West Texas Rednecks, his career seemed promising, but injuries soon sidelined him after surgeries on his shoulder and knee. Known for his partying lifestyle, Dunham's substance abuse worsened during his recovery, exacerbated by a divorce from his wife, the mother of his 2 children. On January 24, 2000, Dunham was found dead from a fentanyl overdose at just 34 years old. Art Barr rose to fame as part of Los Gringos Locos with Eddie Guerrero in AAA, but his U.S. career began in WCW as the Juicer, a Beetlejuice-inspired character. While popular with kids, a criminal conviction led to his release. Reinventing himself in Mexico as American Love Machine, Barr became a lucha libre star. Tragically, weeks after wrestling the match of his life at AAA's When Worlds Collide pay-per-view, he died of a drug-related heart attack at just 28. Dino Casanova, from Baltimore, Maryland, worked for various indie promotions and territories, including Eastern Championship Wrestling. As part of the Cream Team, he teamed with Rip Sawyer and later with Romeo Valentino as the Good Fellas. Casanova's career included enhancement work in WWE and WCW. After fading from the spotlight, he wrestled occasionally in his hometown. On March 1, 2002, Casanova passed away from a heart attack at the age of 35. Standing nearly 7 feet tall and weighing over 300 pounds, Jerry Tweet, known as The Wall, trained at WCW's power plant and debuted as Berlin's bodyguard. A memorable feud with Hulk Hogan briefly elevated his status. When WCW folded, WWE picked up Tweet's contract but released him upon discovering his heroin addiction. He later worked for TNA as Malice and found stability in All Japan Pro Wrestling. Tragically, Tweet died of a heart attack in his Narita hotel room at 36, just after completing a tour. Robert "Jeep" Swenson, known for his massive physique and the largest biceps in the world, began wrestling in the late 80s. In 1996, WCW introduced him as the Final Solution, quickly renamed the Ultimate Solution due to the original name's offensive connotation. After wrestling one disastrous match at Uncensored 1996, Swenson turned to acting, famously portraying Bane in Batman and Robin. 2 months after the film's release, he died of a heart attack at 40, following organ failure. His close friend, Davey Boy Smith, delivered a eulogy at his funeral.